Yo, what's going on, Fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the Novice Nose out here in these fragrance streets. About a month or so ago, I did an unboxing of a couple of fragrances that have been highly anticipated in the frag community. One of those fragrances was lattafapisa, which I did a review on a couple of weeks ago, that follow-up review. Definitely come to the channel and check it out. That particular fragrance, I was very impressed by on my back review of that particular fragrance once I got to wear it out in the wild. The other fragrance on that particular haul was this one. So this is French Avenue's Spectre Wraith. Now, when I unboxed this, and this is, I don't have the box because y'all saw that during the unboxing. When I unboxed this and I did my first impression of it, one of the things that I said that I wanted to do was put it away for a couple of weeks, see what it did, come back to it. I knew that this was going to be something that I was going to probably use as a fall scent, but I wanted to kind of, take a little while to let it kind of sit and rest and get itself together, because on first impressions it was really nice, but it felt like it was missing something compared to the OG. Now, the OG for this, by the way, let me go ahead and get the bottle here for you guys to see. Okay, it focused pretty well. I love the style of those Spectre bottles in the all black. When the first time I saw this, actually, I think it was Neeb did it on his channel when he was at that fragrance show in Dubai, and he showed that particular bottle, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get my hands on it. It just looked cool. I really had to get it when I found out what it was cloning. So it's a clone inspired by of KILIAN's Black Phantom. Now, Black Phantom is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. A lot of it because I am a huge coffee lover, that dark chocolate, all of the facets of that particular fragrance, the darkness of it, the mysteriousness of it, the gourmandish lean of that particular fragrance. All of those things played into that being one of my favorite fragrance pickups of all time, right? So when I saw that that DNA was being cloned, I was like, I'm gonna get my hands on that, see what it's gonna do. And the bonus was that it came in a great bottle. So again, when I did my unboxing of it, I said there's something maybe missing from it. I wasn't quite sure what it was, so I put it in a drawer, let it sit for a while just to see what it was going to do. A couple weeks ago, I actually was able to break it out of that drawer, and I had a couple of days where I could actually wear it into the office. A couple of cooler days, because right now we're in the heat of Atlanta, but there were a couple of cooler days where I was able to wear it into the office, and then I was able to kind of wear it just out in the wild, just to kind of see what it does and some of the differences between this and the OG itself. Now, of course, I'm not going to bring the OG bottle on here because apparently they are coming after folks for bringing up these OG bottles when they're doing dupe videos, clone videos, so won't do that. However, what I will say is that the two, Black Phantom and Spectre Wraith, are a lot closer than I thought they were. Now, let me start with the note breakdown on this particular fragrance, right? The notes on Spectre Wraith go as follows. Rum is the top note. Rum and spices are the top note. Coffee, patchouli, vetiver, and sandalwood in the mid. And then the base note is sugarcane, right? So the note breakdown basically mirrors what the OG is. So the note breakdown for Black Phantom goes as follows. The top note is just rum, and then the mid notes are dark chocolate, coffee, almond, and heliotrope. And the base notes are caramel, sugar cane, sandalwood, and vetiver. So as you see, there's a lot of notes in common between the two. The significant notes for me, though, are the almond in the mid and the caramel in the base notes, because that caramel plays a decisive, role in how these particular fragrances differ, at least the way they present when you're wearing them. So first thing about this particular fragrance is if you spray this next to the OG, the initial spray of this, and I'm gonna do this based on the OG itself. I love the fragrance. Let me go ahead and put that spoiler alert out there. I do love the fragrance. I love how it presents. You get on this particular fragrance, you get that rum and spice at the top, as it says in the breakdown, but you also get those dark chocolate facets that you get in the OG right off the top of the spray. The first sprays you get that. One of the things that there is a difference in, and I think this is what I was picking up when we first did the unboxing of it, is that this particular fragrance doesn't really have that almond presence. Now, it's not a super strong almond in the Black Phantom. It's not a very, very strong almond presence, but it is there, and it's kind of blended into the background. The Spectrewraith doesn't have that, right? So Spectrewraith, and by the way, I didn't do this earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little spray on the hair. Y'all saw the atomizer previously, but now you see it again. But the Spectrewraith doesn't have that almond in it, and I think that's kind of what I was missing at first. Everything else is there though. The dark chocolate facets of it, the coffee, all of that is there, but it's missing a little bit of that almond. Now, that being said, it's not that big of a difference between the way that these two fragrances present and the way that these two fragrances smell, especially going into the dry down. There's a point, probably about maybe 20-30 minutes in, where you don't really have a lot of a difference between the two fragrances. If you put one on this hand, one on the other hand, it is dark. It's got, like I said, those chocolatey facets of it, slightly boozy. It's got the coffee that is ever present in the background of this stuff, right? And it really does present as this beautiful, dark, mysterious fall fragrance. And I say fall because I think fall and winter is actually the best time for Spectrewraith. It was the best time for the OG, to be completely honest. It's not a high weather, a high heat type of fragrance. But one of the things that differentiates these particular two, Black Phantom and Spectrewraith, is one of the notes that I mentioned earlier, and that's the caramel. So once you get into like the hour and a half, 2 hours, you'll notice it a little sooner than that. But you'll notice that the OG is a lot smoother than the Spectrewraith. And I think the reason why that OG is a lot smoother is because of that caramel note. There's a distinct caramel that you can pick up in the Black Phantom that is, like I said, not present in here. And what that does is it helps to smooth it out. It has a sandalwood presence in here, but that sandalwood is kind of smoothed out by the caramel. The Spectrewraith doesn't have that caramel to smooth out the sandalwood. So as you go into the dry down, it actually presents, the sandalwood presents a little bit more in this one than it does in the OG. So you get almost and I don't want to use the word ashy because ashy has kind of a weird connotation to it, but it is not an unpleasant thing. That's why I don't want to use the word ashy. It's because folks don't like to be ashy, but it is kind of like a soft haziness with the Spectrewraith that you don't get in the OG. The OG, like I said, has that caramel that's kind of smoothing out that sandalwood, and that haziness is coming from that sandalwood. It's smoothing that out, so you're not getting that. So what you're getting basically is a lot smoother version in the OG than you do here. However, the way that they present and the way that they smell outside of that, the DNAs are practically identical. You do get a little bit more of a butteriness to the OG than you do with this one, but this one also has a little bit more of an aromatic tone to it. It projects off the skin a little bit better, and I think it's because that caramel is kind of smoothing it out in the Black Phantom. There's none of that in the way. of the sandalwood on the Spectre Wraith, so it kind of presents out a little bit more. Like I said, there's a little bit more of an aromaticness to this particular fragrance. This one is actually really good as far as the way that it presents, the way that it pops off your skin. I dare say that it pops off my skin a lot better than Black Phantom does. For the price of this is a stellar copy of that DNA from Black Phantom. So something else that I'm seeing online is a comparison of this particular fragrance, Spectre Wraith, to another coffee fragrance that's been on the market for a couple of years, right? And that particular fragrance is this one. This is Bath & Body Works Coffee and Whiskey. So when you put these two side by side, when you spray them side by side, there is definitely distinct differences between these. Coffee and Whiskey is a much brighter fragrance. It's more linear than your Spectre Wraith would be. Spectre Wraith actually does have a lot of those changes that it goes through, kind of like the OG does. It has a good dry down, and it's a little less linear than something like this. This, on the other hand, is very linear fragrance. It doesn't have any changes. Once you spray it on, you get what you get. This is actually a more, like I said, bright coffee than the other ones. These are dark. These have this, you can pick up the chocolate facets in these. You can pick up the spice in these. You can pick up the sandalwood. You can pick up all of those things in these the Spectre Wraith fragrance. You don't pick that up in Coffee Whiskey. Coffee Whiskey is completely different when it comes to that particular DNA. Now, if you just wanted to get in the realm of Spectre Wraith or Black Phantom, you could go for something like this, but the fragrances will be completely discernible from each other. You can, smell this, smell that, and say, hey, I know exactly what you're wearing. Because like I said, Coffee Whiskey is a very bright coffee. And like I said, it's whiskey, not rum. And there's a difference in those, the way that those particular fragrances present themselves. That being said, having Coffee Whiskey is not redundant at all to having Spectre Wraith. My thought is you have both, because this one has its own purpose in place. This one as well has its own purpose in place. As far as the fragrance itself, would I rate it? Definitely one of my favorite pickups this year. I would give it a good 9 out of 10. I love the way it presents off the skin. I love the lasting power. It stays on skin for, with me at least, it stays on skin for a good 7 to 8 hours. Projects for a good 3-4 hours at least before it kind of runs into being a skin scent. Sillage lasts a little bit longer than that. If I walk by somebody, they pick it up. My coworkers were able to pick this up all throughout the day when I would be walking by them. So it definitely is there. Also, if you put it on clothes, it's gonna stay. It doesn't come off your clothes. So, keep that in mind when you do spray this particular fragrance. But I love it, man. This is something that is going to be a fall staple for me. I've got a couple of great pickups that I've had so far this year as far as like my fall stuff. I did the Liquid Brune did last week, and this is another one that's going to be right there in the fall. And spoiler alert, I've got another one that I have a review coming up for that's going to be another fall staple. Well, 2 of them actually. I'm kind of starting to move into those fall scents. I still got a couple of summer ones to do. In any event, that's my review for Spectre Wraith. It is a great fragrance. I say if you have the chance to pick it up, go ahead and pick it up, man. It's worth the coins. Have you put your nose on it yet? Let me know in the comments, man. Make sure that you chime in. Let me know how it performs for you. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody you know that loves fragrance, man. Until next time, this is my thoughts on this. This is a great one. Until next time, peace out.